You're listening to Search the Scriptures Daily, a program in which we encourage everyone who desires to know God's truth to look to God's Word for all that is essential for salvation and living one's life in a way that is pleasing to Him. The topic for our discussion in this first segment is, and has been for a number of weeks, Dave Hunt's book, When Will Jesus Come?, subtitled Compelling Evidence for the Soon Return of Christ. Now, Dave, you write in chapter 18, and I'm quoting, "Many students of prophecy believe that the next event on the prophetic calendar is World War III, and that only thereafter can the rapture take place." Now, as you know, I've been to a number of prophecy conferences where some of the speakers, most of them very good friends of yours, well, they have differences with you regarding Ezekiel 38. So could you give our listening and now our viewing audience an overview of the controversy pertaining to Ezekiel 38 and 39 and why you take the position that you do?
Mm-hmm. Well, Tom, I just looked to see when this book was written, 1993.
Right.
That's 13 years ago. So we haven't had World War III yet. I think it was around maybe 10 years earlier than this that I wrote Peace, Prosperity, and the Coming Holocaust.
Yeah, it was just before the seduction of Christianity.
Yeah.
1985.
And at that time, they were all convinced that the next event was a Soviet invasion of Israel. I think interest rates were 23%, if you can remember that. Imagine that. And housing, so many unsold, unoccupied houses. The stock market pundits were predicting a 1929 crash. I mean, this would make 1929 look like a Sunday school picnic. And
the death of the dollar was a big item.
Absolutely, in Christian bookstores. The death of the dollar, international banking collapse, and so forth. And I think I entitled my first chapter, A Contrary Scenario. That's not going to happen. It's going to go the other way. Now, for the information of the
Dave, what was the Dow Jones then?
It was around 700.
Wait, you mean 700? You don't mean 7,000. You mean 700?
Oh no, 700.
Okay.
It's now over 12,000.
Wow.
So should have followed my advice back there.
Well,
But,
and invest nothing in nothing.
Right.
Okay.
Anyway, no, I do not recommend investing in the market. It's a bad business. You can lose everything the next minute. But anyway, just for the enlightenment of the listeners and some viewers who may be interested, actually the Soviets were planning an invasion. And part of the reason for the Israeli invasion of Lebanon, of course, they had all kinds of problems in there that they had to root out, exactly as they did recently.
Now, we're not talking about the recent invasion of Lebanon. We're talking...
This is in the 70s.
Right.
Because they knew that there were arms for a 1 million-man army hidden in Lebanon, much of it in UN territory. The UN helped these terrorists coming north, And so Israel went in and they took it out. They brought it back to Israel. I don't know what they've done with it or how good it was. Soviet armaments for a 1 million-man invasion army. Much of it too sophisticated for the PLO, at least in those days, to operate. Quite obvious who it was for. And Israel took care of that. I don't remember how many. I think it was more than 5,000 truckloads. No, it had to be more than that they hauled that all into Israel. Anyway, so they indefinitely were planning. But, of course, that was not God's time, and that was what I was going by. It was not going to happen. So Ezekiel 38, most prophecy teachers, I would say maybe 90% or more, believe that this is some preliminary war, not Armageddon, some preliminary war before the rapture or mid-trib or something. And I and very few others say, no, this is Armageddon, and there is no question about it, and we can prove it from the Bible itself. So I was just going by the Bible, Tom.
Well, speaking of the Bible, you list a number of verses from Ezekiel 38 and 39, and just to give our listeners, our viewers, verses to go to, if they'd like, let me read some of them.
Don't get to 39 yet.
No, I'll just start with 38, right? You quote, "It shall be in the latter, that is the last days, and I will bring thee against my land Israel, that the heathen may know me," Ezekiel 38:16. "Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel, so that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of the heaven and the beasts of the field and all the men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake at my presence, and the mountains shall be thrown down." And that's Ezekiel 38, verses 19 and 20. And then 38:23, you also quote, "And I will be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am the Lord."
Yeah, Tom, you read some powerful verses there. Every creature, the creeping things, the fish of the sea, I mean, the epicenter of this shaking is Israel. But every creature all over the world, every creeping thing on the face of this earth will tremble. Every human being will tremble. The mountains will be thrown down. Every wall is going to come down, it says. Now, Tom, that's not some preliminary event. This is the grand finale. And it says, they will. What are they shaking at? My presence. God is coming back to this earth. You can't escape it. There's no way you could say, well, that's some preliminary battle. God himself is returning to this earth. Now we know how he appears when he returns. And that's why Israel will finally believe what their prophets have said. He is Jesus Christ. They will look on Zechariah 12:10, they will look on me whom they have pierced. Now this is Yahweh speaking. And they will mourn because of him. Now wait a minute. Look on me. I'm the one that was pierced, but they're going to mourn for him. Are we talking about two people? Or Jesus said, I and my Father are one. Isaiah 9:6, his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father. So amazingly, the babe born in Bethlehem is also the Father, but he's also the Son. This is the Trinity. But anyway.
David, let me go back to just how we began this. I said that at prophecy conferences, and I've been privileged to be a part of a number of these, and these are your good friends who take a different position, and I would say for the most part they are premillennial, pre-tribbers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yet they believe that Ezekiel 38 and 39 is necessary in order to set the stage for the Antichrist to come on the scene.
It's the Antichrist that God is bringing. He says, I will bring you. It's the Antichrist with his armies. I'll tell you, the rapture, the pre-trib rapture, Tom, I mean, I can give many verses, and we've given many on this program, why the rapture is pre-trib. He has to take his church to heaven because there's a judgment seat of Christ up there. There's
for rewards.
Yes.
Don't confuse it with the, I'm speaking to our audience here, with the Great White Throne Judgment.
Right.
They're two distinct judgments.
There's a wedding, chapter 19. The bride is married to the groom.
For more information about the Berean call us toll-free at our order number or visit our website